Hey folks, just wanted to let you know that we had some audio issues with this episode. Not only did I have a really bad cold, but I had to use some alternative headphones, and so because my AirPods were acting weird. So hopefully this will be fixed, but unfortunately we recorded Traitors episodes 4, 5, and 6 all on the same day. So those audio issues are in all those episodes, I believe. But after that, we're hoping that they'll be fixed. Sorry about that, and hope you enjoy. Howdy, and welcome to What I Wish I Could Say, the heartfelt, humorous podcast hosted by me, April Spencer. Today we're talking about Traitors Season 4, Episodes 4 and 5, and we are joined by our beautiful, lovely guest star, my husband and baby daddy, Philip Spencer. What's new, Philip?
Hello. Um, I have been baby proofing a house, and I didn't realize there were so many things that are dangerous for babies that are just in houses, like a cabinet. Okay.
Yeah, I'm really grateful that you've been like prioritizing baby proofing because I wasn't really going to do it until later.
So what's new with you?
So as you know, we've been watching Fallout, and that's been really fun. That's kind of my what's new is I'm really enjoying that show. I didn't think I would, but as far as like sci-fi goes, I think it's better than Silo and Severance. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I'm pretty surprised at like how little I'd heard about it.
Me too.
Like it's very high production. The people who make it obviously like the game, and it's like they spent a lot of money and attention to detail on it. Like the set design is really good. Costumes and stuff are really good.
Yeah, the casting is really good too. There's like some high profile casting. Fred Armisen was in it at the end of season one. Wasn't that season one? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just like a
Um,
Portlandia character, like but in the Fallout setting.
yeah. Yeah. I thought it's funny, and also really like serious, it's both. Walks that line really well. Um, Yeah, I think it's a really good show. I'm surprised that I haven't heard more about it too. How do you think it
Yeah.
compares to Pluribus?
Um, yeah, Pluribus is good because I think they're both good because they deal with morality, but I think Fallout's more entertaining to me because, like you said, it has like both sides of the coin. I feel like Pluribus is all like, here's all the heavy stuff, and then Fallout has like it has like a really unique vibe, like, and so I like that it can do the like jokingness and like shooting people in the head, but also like, hey, who's actually morally right here?
Yeah, um, I agree. I think Pluribus, it's kind of hard to compare them, honestly, because Pluribus has a different sense of humor. I think it's still funny. It has funny moments, but it's got more of like a light, wry kind of sense of humor, whereas Fallout is like a dark sense of humor. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm very impressed with it so far. So yeah, that's what's new with me is I'm enjoying that show.
Yeah.
Do you have a memory that you want to share?
Um, yeah, speaking of being sick, my memory that I wanted to share this time is when we went to Peru. It was super fun, but we actually just like took turns getting altitude sickness.
Yeah.
I think it was like the first Rainbow Mountain. Is that what it's called? I forget. The Rainbow Hills area that we climbed up to is like way higher altitude than where we live, obviously. And I got very sick on that climb. And then we did another climb where you were suffering a lot. And yeah, I just think it was funny that we just took turns having to take care of each other while the other person was absolutely dying.
Yeah. Yeah, you did get really sick on that Rainbow Mountain hike. And I was I wasn't sick, but that was the hardest climb for me. Like that was tough, and I was just going like one little step at a time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was hard. And the Salcantay Trail is where we were headed to Machu Picchu, and that's where I started to have some altitude sickness, I think, right?
Yeah. I think that's where it started for you. And then yeah, even when that was over, you were still sick, and I was just enjoying like all the local foods and all this stuff, and you were like, "Please don't talk to me about food."
Well, you're being very kind and not you're trying not to like catch me out, I guess, but I was not altitude sick by the time we got to Lima. So yeah, we did altitude sickness going to Machu Picchu a little bit, but got over that. Machu Picchu was great. Then we went to Huacachina and we like stayed there for a couple days and like enjoyed the oasis and everything. And that is where I did eat a piece of fruit that I really should not have eaten. And by the time we made it to Lima, I was having like a severe bacterial infection. Like, probably should have gone to the hospital.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't take you to an actual medical professional. We went into those like sketchy pharmacies they have where you can just like buy anything for $1.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, yeah, that was bad. And you did have some antibiotics on you, and so we did that, and that helped. But yeah, that was when it was so sad because we went to Lima and like the whole reason we stayed there was to like eat at different awesome restaurants there.
yeah.
And I did not feel like eating. Yeah, but yeah, that was a great trip.
Yeah. What's your memory?
So this one is from when we were in Wisconsin. I think being snowed in has made me think about our time living in Wisconsin a lot. Um, and it's actually a memory about our friend Tom. Um, but we were all out to eat one time with Tom and like some of my friends. Um, at this big table. I was like some pizza place or something we were at, and we were all at this big long table. And Tom always had trouble with like women and like just like had a hard time like just going for it with women. Um, but there was this one girl that he had had some success with that he was like talking to kind of, and he was like at this table we're all listening to him just kind of like pour his heart out about like how he wanted to contact her and like ask her to go on another date or something. And he really liked her, but he was like scared of rejection and like, was considering, like looking into every little like detail of her behavior to see if she was really serious about him or not. Just like pouring
Very,
his heart
very
out.
vulnerable.
Very vulnerable. And he had like, the central question was like, should he text her or not?
Yeah.
And he suddenly, in the middle of this like long download, he looks down and goes, "Oh," and tells us he's been recording himself the whole time, and he had her like text message thread with him open, and accidentally he goes to like stop the recording, and he sends it to her.
He'd been holding his phone in his hand during the rant the whole time, like doing gestures and stuff. Like this is his phone in his hand. And then yeah, he just goes, "Oh, I just sent her a voice memo of that whole thing." And then we were like, everyone's just started dying laughing. That was so funny. And then he was trying to like listen to the voice memo to like see what he said during it, but everyone was laughing so much. And like we were in a loud restaurant, like he couldn't hear it. And so he just had to like sit there.
Well, and it was like
Uh,
it only let him play it back one time or something too.
yeah.
And so it was like he
Yeah.
tried to listen to it once and then he couldn't hear anything, and then it was like it wouldn't let him play it again, and it was just like disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt bad for him, but also it was just like the funniest thing that ever happened, and it was like the
It's
funniest person for it to happen to.
you could not make it up. Like if that was on a TV show, I would be like, "That's stupid. That wouldn't happen."
Yeah, yeah. So that's my memory.
Aw, Tom. I miss Tom.
Hope you're doing well, Tom. All right. So do you want to get into episode 4?
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Kitoki.
Um, okie dokie. That's from Fallout. um, okay. So the first thing I wrote is I love the tarot theme this season. I don't think I mentioned that in our last episode, but I wanted to say it at the top. As you know, I love tarot. So
Yeah.
um, so it opens with us seeing breakfast happening after they had the like murder face to face the night before, where everybody was like tied to trees and everything, and then the traitors came around and murdered. Who did they murder? Caroline.
Yeah. Yeah, it was right after the dramatic scene of Ron being like, "You better kill me," you know?
Show me your faces.
"Show me your
Yeah,
faces." Yeah. That was great. Yeah, and then they do the whole thing someone has the idea to, like, make all the people tied to the tree describe everything to see if they can kinda, like, catch someone,
yeah,
and somehow they accidentally think they caught Ron in a lie, like, he didn't say anything wrong, but they're just, like, jumping on him. They just hate Ron. I don't get it.
yeah. They compared. So I thought Lisa's like story was so suspicious. She was going like, like she was clearly
Yeah,
like so nervous trying to like explain the story from the perspective of someone tied to the tree because she wasn't tied to the tree. She was one of the traitors. Um, and so it looked terrible to me, but obviously it's like I know she's a traitor unless she's lying, so whatever.
yeah,
But what they ended up saying was she mentioned that they swung an axe, and Ron had never said anything about an axe, and so people
right.
took suspicious. Like that was a big detail that he never mentioned.
Yeah, and then, like, someone was even like, "Oh, like, you would definitely mention that," and it's like, "Why? That didn't they didn't do anything. They didn't, like, actually kill someone with the axe or, like, threaten them, you know? It's just like a prop."
Yeah, um, yeah,
I
and
mean,
also
he
blindfolded when they swung the axe. Like,
yeah,
uh,
that's what I'm confused about. It's like, no one they were blindfolded for a lot of it. How are they expecting them to say anything? Like, the only details that the actual faithfuls did share that Lisa didn't was, like, what they heard because they
yeah,
were blindfolded. Lisa described everything she saw. And also, the person who asked, I think, the smartest question during Lisa's nervous story was Monet.
right,
I think it's like, she was like, "Oh, yeah, they tied me up," and then Monet was like, "Oh, like one of the gold masked people?" Like, it was like a trick question.
yeah,
Because if you didn't really know, you'd be like, "Yeah, one of them." But Ron had already mentioned before she was in the room, like, they had a black mask on. It was a different color than normal.
yeah,
So, it was a good trick question, and that's probably why they got killed.
yeah, yeah. Monet did ask that question, and then she mentioned the Candace. Unfortunately, she picked the wrong person to confide in, but
Yeah.
they mentioned Candace that she was suspicious of Lisa after that.
Yep.
R.I.P. Monet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so they end up finding out Caroline's the one that was murdered. We also get Eric talking about how he heard a laugh. Um, yeah,
Yeah, that honestly, I cannot believe more people on the show haven't pounced on him about that, but, like, he was so confident, and, like, I don't know, I get that he's, like, he's a musician, but I'm like, how do you know you've heard everyone laugh in the castle to be like, "It has to be Tiffany." It's like, did you just go around and the first time you met everyone and be like, "Hey, can you laugh?" Or like, did you tell everyone a knock knock joke? Like, I don't know. It's so confident to be like, out of 20 people, I know who this is.
Yeah. It was it was a bummer because he didn't reveal at this point who he thought it was, but they did have like they did show like all three of the traitors laughing like for the audience after he
Hmm.
mentioned that, and you were like, oh wow, I bet it's Candace because Candace has like a very distinct laugh,
She
which she does.
does.
Um, but yeah, it turns out Eric just had the wrong black woman.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe he just never heard Candace laugh, and he heard Tiffany laugh, and he was like, "Oh, that's gotta be it." I don't know what happened. Maybe you'd have to ask him, but he was
Yeah,
very confident, and he like swung a bunch of people's votes later in the episode at that round table with that.
he did. He did. It was very compelling, especially him like hyping up like he's a musician and he listens to sounds all the time and blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah.
Turns out he's like a little bit racist. Um, the bummer. Uh,
Unfortunate.
yeah. Oh, also, this is my first outfit that Alan has had this season that I like. He had the leopard and rust suit.
Yeah,
Um, that looks really good. He looked sharp and snazzy, which is what I've come to expect from him on this show.
yeah. It's part of the fun.
Yes. Anything else you want to say about breakfast?
I don't think so. I think that just kind of leads into like what I think was an interesting game.
The
The
effigy game. Yeah.
Yeah.
The effigy game is the one where everybody had a shield, and then you had to like like you broke up into smaller teams, and then you
That's
had to
right.
throw and burn somebody's shield.
And they did announce people's names, so you had to pick someone specifically.
Yes, and yell their name as you burn their effigy for the money.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think thought that one was interesting. We got to see Michael Rappaport just repeatedly yell someone's name like 10 times.
Oh my gosh, that was so embarrassing that he was just screaming "Tara, Tara, Tara" over and over again. Oh, guys, this man
Yeah.
is not well. He's not stable.
He's got something going on. Um and I know this is a podcast about traitors, but it is super weird that he's in Fallout for like 10 seconds and then he dies.
He does. He's in Fallout, and he plays a very similar character in Fallout.
Yeah.
Um,
He's just mean and yelling and then he dies.
he's mean and yelling, and it's not strategic. 'Cause threatening the one person that can save him.
Yeah.
That's why he dies. Um, but yeah, so yeah, they have to go around finding the spears, and that's when I wrote down Mora. She says, "We've got to find these spears."
You have had gotten a lot of joy out of doing her accent, and I'm very happy for you. It is
You're a
entertaining.
traitor.
I've been tinking.
I've been thinking he's a traitor.
That was probably the most fun part of this episode game for me. Was just that and the people screaming names. I enjoyed the people who actually started screaming them, really leading
Yeah,
into it.
yeah. So I think what they ended up with, I wrote down everybody who got their shield blown up was Johnny, Jam Jam, Ron, Tiffany, Monet, Michael, Tara, Steven, Lisa, and Mora.
Hmm.
This is also when we first discovered that Steven was a person.
Oh my god. I thought that was like a prank. They were like they yelled out Steven and I was like, "Who?" And I thought it was like a joke. Like I thought they just were like adding in names and like saying names of people who weren't on the show to try to scam the game or something. And then they started showing clips of a human that I did not know was on this TV show.
Yeah, I just he never really registered for me.
I'm sure he was on the show at some point. I just did not remember him. And I was hoping it was like an elaborate prank where like every episode they were just gonna like add in a cast member to see if we
Yeah.
notice.
Yeah, no. That was funny. We were like both like, who is Steven? Um, and then I also said I'm glad that Mark is getting more screen time because Mark has not had a lot of screen time up until episode 4. Um, but yeah, he's doing a good job. So
Marcus from Dancing with the Stars.
yes, he's the one with the
Yeah.
really long hair.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about the effigy game?
I don't think so.
All right, so then we go to the round table. Um, and this is where poor Tiffany, she's got Colton had already clocked that he was going to go after Tiffany. His reasoning is that she was just really sure that she knew who the traitors were. Okay. Um, and then
Yeah.
the death knell was Eric giving his the whole thing about hearing her laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just another episode where Colton is like super intense and aggressive and like has no evidence, but it just decides he's taking charge and knows everything.
Yeah,
And then yeah, he gets backed up by once again just someone just being wrong. Like but very confident. It's like this is like I mean, I don't want to say like Tiffany did nothing wrong because her strategy was also confusing. She was like, I'm certain Michael's a traitor, so I'm gonna like cozy up to him. And like that could be a way to win the game, but you have to pick someone who's not the center of attention.
yeah,
Like if you were randomly like, I I think that Mark is a traitor and I'm like certain and I'm gonna take him to the end of the game and then betray him and like kick him out. That's a strategy because like no one's talking about Mark, but Michael Rappaport is like the loudest, most hated person on the show.
she hitched her wagon to a falling star for
Yeah,
sure, and like that was a terrible strategy. It was a terrible clock on her part to think that Michael was ever a traitor.
yeah,
Um, and then it was a terrible strategy. Like no matter whether he's a traitor or a faithful, like he's getting kicked out. You should have seen the writing on the wall that he was going to go eventually. The only reason he didn't go that round table was because of her. Like
yeah,
she went before him because she like subordinated herself to him. She treated him like she was like his executive assistant or something for the
yeah,
past few episodes. It was so weird. I think we talked about it on the last podcast, but I was like confident that she's like playing out some type of like past workplace trauma with
yeah.
him.
She had like I can fix him energy
Yes,
almost. Like
yeah. She was like pulling him into the secret room and like coaching him on like how to be more likable. And
yeah,
it's like, why are you spending your energy on this girl? Like, don't. And it just
find
made her look like a traitor.
it did. It did. Yeah, and like even though Colton was wrong and um the musician was wrong, like it made her look suspicious.
Yes, yeah. So I think that was unfortunate. Um, I feel like watching that back for her is going to be really like eye opening. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think she realized in the moment like how much energy she was putting into this really weird strategy. You know.
Yeah.
Um, this is also where okay. Normally, I don't advocate for traders speaking up in defense of other people at the round table. Like 99% of the time, that's a terrible strategy. But this is where my respect for Candace started to come through because I at first was like not really impressed with Candace's game. I felt like she was being a little too reckless and inserting herself in places she shouldn't have been. But she did speak up in defense of Tiffany, and it made her look fantastic when Tiffany was a faithful.
Yeah.
Um, I thought that was a really good play on her part.
It was because it seemed pretty genuine.
I think
Um,
it was genuine.
yeah, it was like both like a strategic move to be like, hey, I think she's a faithful, and also like, hey, I really do actually like her as a person. Um, but and I think you're right. Like it worked this time, but I think in general I'm against it too. I think if you do that too many times, then people are going to be like, how do they always know who the faithfuls are? You know.
True.
Um, but doing it once and just being like, "Hey, I thought she was a faithful." That was just my opinion. You know, that's a little different.
Yeah. It's because it was authentic. I really think she had a good relationship with Tiffany and didn't want her to go home that early.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's what should be the guiding factor for a faithful. We're not covering episode 6 in this episode, but we have already seen it. And I think Rob did the same thing very well in episode 6, where
Mm,
he genuinely liked Ron a lot and also had this alliance with Colton. And so when it came down to choosing between voting for Ron, Colton, and Lisa, he voted for Lisa very reluctantly, but I think that was the best play on his part because he was being like 100% honest of like, I don't want Ron to leave, you know?
yeah.
Ended up looking really authentic. Cause I think it was. So I think that's what traders have to like understand is like people like can tell when you're being like on some subconscious level, they may not even be fully aware of it, but on some subconscious level, they can tell when you're being authentic to your feelings and when you're not.
Right. I think you're
And
right.
so, yeah, so it's like if you sit back and like you never advocate for anybody and you just vote with the crowd, that's going to eventually expose you as a traitor. But if
Yeah.
you are brave and you have like authentic feelings about something and you kind of like, I really don't want that person to go yet, take the risk and stand up for them because like people can tell that you really mean it from your feelings, you know?
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right, and I think she did a good job speaking up about it. Um, Especially because I think so many other people were like shocked that she wasn't a traitor because she was just like you said, like leading Michael around and like coaching him. It's so weird.
Yeah. She was behaving weird. So I think, yeah, it had a huge effect when Candace was one of the few people who stood up for her and then she wasn't faithful.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right too. Like, you can't do that more than once in a row for sure because then you start looking like you know who all the faithfuls and traitors are.
Right.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about episode 4?
I don't think so. They don't reveal the murder at the end of that, right? Is that that's the beginning of the next episode?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was an interesting I think they have the discussion in the tower, and I'm trying to remember who the other options they picked were, but I wasn't certain who they were going to pick that night because I think like they discuss killing Monet because she mentioned Lisa's name, but it's like they didn't know if Monet mentioned it to other people or not, right? So
Right.
it's like it was like kind of a big risk um, picking Monet. So I was wondering if they might pick someone else, but yeah, leading into the next episode, that is what they show at breakfast, right? Is they do end up picking Monet Exchange.
Yeah, and it was a bummer. It something that's been pointed out on social media is like all the like black people getting voted off so early. Um,
Mm,
yeah, Portia, it's like I'm sorry, I cannot
yeah,
defend Portia.
no.
Like she had to go. Um, but then Tiffany, it's kind of like, like yeah, she was behaving oddly, but she was faithful. And it's kind of a bummer she got voted off before Michael.
Yeah,
Kind of weird. And then Monet is killed the very next day. And so it's like the only two black people I think left in the show at that point were Candace and Ron.
and
And
everyone hates Ron for some reason.
well,
Mm,
Ron was up for elimination like over and over and over and over again. He was like
Yeah.
always going to end up going home. It's just they started prioritizing other people over him.
Yeah.
Uh, and according to him on social media, he felt like he was being treated like horribly the whole time. So it's like, I don't know, like people criticize that effect that ends up happening on traders is like, what racism, unconscious bias,
Mm.
like all that stuff. But I think it's important for people to watch shows like Traders because you really see how it plays out.
I think you're right. I mean, I think it's like it's obviously less regulated than like a courtroom or like a jury room, but it is
Hmm.
like kind of like that because it's like people just kind of sort of present evidence, and then like some people are like, "Oh, that's a fact," and other people are like, "No, that doesn't mean anything." And then they just argue, and whoever's loudest and it's like, "I'm taking charge in the jury room," or whatever this decision you're making, like those are the people that lead the charge. Like Colton just yelling about, "Oh, well, you're this person," or like it's very strange. And then like yeah, like Ron literally only presented like factual information, but then now everyone hates him because the factual information just came from someone acting silly. Like I don't understand. So,
Yeah. I think Ron, he has mentioned that he's been diagnosed with autism
mm,
this show. Um, and I felt like him being like one of the only black men and being autistic really set him up for failure in this show because a bunch of people were saying like you're just not very friendly, you don't want to talk about family, like blah blah blah. He was like, yeah, I don't want to talk about family because I don't want to be biased. And I
yeah.
was like, I really see that, like, and I see like somebody being autistic, like taking a game like this really seriously, and like they're right, like
Yeah.
your judgment does get clouded when you're like really buddy buddy with someone, you know. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like you're playing this game, which is a social game with a bunch of like neurotypical people, and
Well.
there's some neurotypical people and whatever. Um, and at the end of the day, this like group think is going to be like, he's weird, he's different, he's not as friendly, he's
Yeah.
probably a traitor.
Well, yeah, and like I've seen on the like you said, like on Ron's social media, it's like he's talking about like he was there to play a game and like solve a mystery. And these people are some of these people are here to like make social connections and like just get on TV and be famous. And like some of them are like that one lady who one of the housewives who like always has beef with him in every round table, including this one. She'll just
Dorinda.
like yeah, I think so. And she'll just get angry at him and be like, yeah, like you want, like you said, you want tell me about your family. And he's like, why would I do that? I totally get it. It's like, not only am I not here to like make friends and I don't want to bias, but also I know that some people are here just lying. Why would I make friends with some of these people whenever I know that like literally at least three of the people sitting at this table are obligated to lie to me to my face? Why would you want to make friends in that group of people? I don't get it.
Yeah,
It's like, I mean, like you said, it is a social game. You still have to like talk to people, and you still have to like try to gather information. Um, but I kind of get his perspective a lot, and it's strange to me that there aren't more players like that who are kind of like, yeah, I don't trust everyone here. I don't want to tell you about my new child, and like, you
right.
know,
Yeah. He also did say on his social media that apparently Dorinda said some really horrible things to him
oh,
that did not get shown on that were cut from the episode.
okay.
Um, I don't know what that means. I guess like they're gonna have a reunion and maybe it'll come out in
Hmm.
when that happens. But yeah, so I just felt bad for him, and I I think that it's important. I think people have been criticizing, from what I've seen on social media, some people criticize the whole show. And they're
Mm,
like, this show is just unconscious bias. It's just people like voting people out for stupid reasons. And so I don't support the show. And I'm like, that's not the way to look at it. I think the way to look at it is watch the show because this is real life. This is how people act.
yeah,
And this is a really good way to learn that you like you watch these people make these mistakes using unconscious bias. It's a really good way to learn how to prevent that from happening in
yeah.
your life. You know?
I I completely agree. The show is not supporting the biases. It's not saying you should do this. It's showing you. It's an example to learn from. If you want to talk about like a lot of people learn morality or something from like the Bible, it uses parables and stories. And it's not like in the parable whenever someone does something horrible, it's like you should do that. It's like no, you should learn from this.
Yes, it's
You
literally
sh-
exposing the unconscious bias in a way that you can learn from instead of
right.
like hiding it away, which like that's what happens in our legal system and our, you know, like hiring systems, like the way that people make these decisions that affect people's real lives. There's no
Yeah.
accountability. There's no result that comes out and says you were wrong. This person was a faithful.
Yeah.
So you don't learn from it. But if you watch Traitors, you do.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like in the jury situation, like oftentimes they're told to like not talk about the case
Right.
afterwards or during or whatever. But like this is we're literally watching people's thought processes and watching them talk about it in these like confessional heads. We're watching them they take literal actions. They take a vote. Even if they didn't vote out of faithful or whatever, they vote for someone and then they explain why. They're like, "Yeah, I voted for you because you didn't talk to me about your family." What?
Yeah.
I voted for you because you told me facts that were true, but that person didn't defend themselves. Okay. eh.
Right.
And then, yeah, and then all of a sudden, like, we have in this tribunal at the end of episode 4, we have people saying, like, I heard you, it was your laugh. They were obviously wrong, right? Because she was a faithful. And no one is going to, like, hold him accountable or vote him out. Why? I don't know. Like that's up to you to decide and learn from, right? Like why aren't they're holding Ron accountable, but they aren't holding the guy about who said the laughters accountable like in the future episodes. No one has brought that
Yeah,
up.
he didn't get mentioned ever again for that,
Yeah.
which I think was really interesting. Colton, they make the point that Colton is also getting a free pass or whatever because
Yeah.
um like he was the one leading the charge on Tiffany and he was wrong and then he still gets to come back and like present more evidence and everything. I think it's a little bit apples and oranges because first of all, people are against Colton. Like
Yeah.
he's got the whole castle divided. And then second of all, Ron came back and defended Donna the second time on the second round
Yeah.
table. And that I think is really what tanked his reputation. People like I don't know if they like have kind of forgotten that piece of it or what, but like people keep saying like, well, you were wrong about Portia, you were wrong about Portia. But really it was he was wrong about Portia, completely not his fault.
Yes.
Um and then he chose to protect Donna, who turned out to be a traitor.
Yeah.
And that's pretty like damning evidence, you know?
It is. And like we know from an audience perspective, like they were just kind of like the two outcasts, right?
Yeah,
Um, they just didn't really talk to anyone else. Okay. Like that's but that unfortunately does look pretty bad to him, like when you're playing the game.
yeah. Okay, so episode 5, Monet is the one that is killed overnight. Colton is at breakfast. This is when he starts talking about how he thought he was straight on The Bachelor.
Mm,
Um, that was like kind of a funny moment conversation, but it does end up being important later. Um, that like he thought he was straight and dated 25 women or whatever on The Bachelor,
yeah.
and then later came out as gay.
Yeah, and some
Um,
people even said, like, they didn't know that.
right,
So it was kind of like the group reveal.
right. And he was like kind of like laughing about it and like sharing that. Um, turns out to be it comes back up at the round table. Um, I also mentioned Alan. This is one of his best outfits so far, in my opinion. The murder top, the
Yeah.
uh, the glittery letters. I was like, I want that top. Like, sell that to me, Peacock TV. um, and then anything else you want to say about the breakfast?
Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for that one. They don't, like, interrogate anyone at that breakfast, right? Because there wasn't really anything that they know of that happened the night before.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No. Um, so next we go to the challenge, which is the one where they do have the rule where if nobody takes the shield, then there's no murder that night.
Right, with the fountain, they're digging the coins out. They have to get the statues, and yeah, I don't know if you cut this out or from the podcast earlier, but I was mentioning I think it's really good game design.
Yeah,
Um, I think it's really interesting because, in the previous seasons, it's like the faithfuls and traitors kind of always had similarly aligned goals in these challenges. It's like they all just want the money.
yeah,
This sets them up to have the money. They get the money no matter what, as long as they move the statues, which is great. Everyone wants that. And then the alternative is like only really selfish faithfuls will take a shield, or you're a traitor and you want to take a shield so that you can murder. I think that's great because it's like testing people and it's like showing kind of like their behavior. Um,
yeah,
and like, like Colton kind of wanted a shield. Jam Jam, like always, wanted a shield and was willing to thought about betraying everyone for it. He doesn't end up taking it, but I think it's interesting, like, to at least make people kind of show their colors, both as a
yeah,
faithful and a traitor, because obviously the traitors are like, I want to take that so I can kill someone. Um, but I think it was smart of them that none of them took the risk to kind of like sneakily take one, right? Because you totally could just like try to put one in your pocket really quick. But if you get caught, you're gonna have to explain yourself.
yeah.
Um,
And you never know, like, I think Alan has total control over like how much information he reveals and when.
yeah, yeah,
And so it's like if you take a shield, it's like Alan knows it was you,
yeah.
you know.
And
So like
he might say one person took a shield. He might be like, Rob took a shield. He might
right,
just throw you under the bus.
right. And
So
so you have to like be really careful about that. I honestly thought there was that group that had Colton, Candace, and Lisa in it, and there was one more
yeah,
person. I don't remember who it was. Um, they found four shields. And I was like, two traitors and Colton, who's been very selfish during this game. I really thought they were going to take the shield. I was surprised that they didn't. Um, but yeah, I guess it's just the accountability of having like one person that knows, and then also not knowing when Alan is going to reveal who took a shield and at what point and all
yeah.
that.
Yeah, like, honestly, I wish they'd shown more of that group's conversation because I thought the same thing while watching it. I was like, surely they can like kind of convince Colton to take a shield because
Yeah,
he was saying like, I'm really worried about getting murdered because I'm being so aggressive, and it's like,
yeah.
yeah, I
And then there were two traitors that were like, "Oh yeah, like sure, you should."
should we? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I wish they had shown it because I wonder if like that again. I don't remember who the fourth person was in their group, but I wonder if they just convinced everyone like, no, we all said that, because there are faithfuls that are like, no, we all agreed on that. Like, no, they're genuine to
yeah,
their word. And then there are some like Jam Jam or Colton who are it's like, I bet you might take one if like you didn't think you were gonna get caught, you know?
yeah. 100%. Yeah. Um, other things I want to talk about is this is when Alan he puts a like gladiator outfit over his murder night outfit.
Oh yeah.
And he had the like bleeding heart and everything. I thought that was pretty cool. Like a Roman. It was interesting because the murder outfit was like a kilt, but then he turned it into like a Roman soldier outfit.
Yeah,
And
like a centurion.
yeah, like a
Yeah.
centurion. And I was like, that's very historically interesting choice. But it was all like about like stabbing people in the heart and stuff. And so it was like, I think he was trying to reference like Brutus and like Julius Caesar or something. So
Mm,
interesting.
yeah. This maybe the most famous traitor in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then also this is where we get Michael calling the labyrinth the labyrinth over and over again.
If nothing else, he is entertaining.
Yeah,
You know, he 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 knows how to scream things.
he does. Anything else you want to say about the game?
No, I don't think so. I think it was an interesting design, but it as we find out later, it's like if it didn't actually tempt anyone, then it didn't matter. So
Yeah, maybe if the reunion is good, I've kind of lost my faith in reality TV reunions because of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. But they had a terrible, terrible reunion this year. But if the reunion is good, that would be something cool to reveal at the reunion is like those types of conversations of like, oh, there were three people that wanted to take a shield and then this person convinced them not to. Like that would be interesting information to say for the reunion.
yeah, especially like from the perspective of what we were talking about earlier, of like like this is people's thought processes. Like that's what's interesting to me.
Yeah,
I don't care about watching people carry a fake statue to a fountain. I care
yeah,
about like where's the drama, where's people's moral quandaries and everything. So
yeah. Why do people make the decisions they make, and how do they convince other people to follow them? Like that's what the whole show is.
right.
Um, yeah. So, okay, so now we have the round table, the most dramatic round table yet. Right out the gate, we get Michael making this reference to Colton. He's accusing him of being a traitor and saying, what did he say exactly? He was like, if there's anybody here who knows how to keep a secret, it's you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then obviously everyone at the table is like too far, man. That's
Yeah,
uncalled for. Yeah. And then he kind of backpedals it a little bit and is like, well, I didn't mean it like that. And I'm like, how else could you mean it? It was he definitely said it like I'm not defending him at all. He definitely said it heat of the moment. But that's what makes me think that's that it was he genuinely meant it. It's because he
same,
wasn't thinking. He was like on a rant.
same. I think we've said before, he's an extremely reckless and impulsive person
Yeah.
on all fronts.
He called
And
himself that.
yeah, Um, and so I don't think that he was calculated in the sense that he's like, I'm going to say something homophobic to Colton in order to make him feel bad. I don't think he consciously had that thought,
Mm-mm.
but it doesn't matter because I think he was still somewhere in his mind, he was connecting what Colton was talking about at breakfast that morning about being closeted on The Bachelor and then sitting there thinking about like keeping secrets and lies and stuff, that was still the connection that he was making in his head. And instead of being a responsible person and going like, I'm not going to mention that connection in my head because
Yeah.
it's a completely different situation. Like being gay in our society and like when you come out is like sacred. A responsible person would like actively choose not to speak on that connection in their mind. But he's reckless and impulsive, so he did. And it doesn't like help anything to then like lie and say like, oh, I didn't mean it that way. I wasn't referencing that. Yeah, you were. Yeah, you
Yeah.
were.
He was. And like it's messed up, but it's also like it's just not even a good argument. It's
Yeah.
the thing is like people have done this on previous seasons and throughout the season. They're like, you would make a good traitor. So you understand that like you're only a traitor if you get picked. That's how the game works. It's like if you've ever played like werewolf or something, um, it's like you're only a good werewolf. Like, okay, you would be a good werewolf. Like that doesn't make any sense. It's whoever got picked to be the werewolf is the werewolf. You have to find out who it is this time. If they played the game again with the same cast, it might or might not be the same traitors. That's how a game works, and I feel like they, I feel like people keep forgetting that. So like even if it wasn't homophobic, if Colton had revealed like, oh yeah, I lied about my name for 20 years, and then Michael brought up like, oh well, you lied about your name for 20 years, so you're probably a traitor. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
You
the
and
only
you
the only
could be a
pushback
traitor,
the
but
only pushback I have on that is that it's not like Midnight Werewolf or Secret Hitler, where the choice of the traitor is random.
sure,
Alan has come out and said that he chooses the traitors and he doesn't want to pick anybody that can't handle the responsibility of being a traitor. Unfortunately, he did pick someone that couldn't handle the responsibility in Donna, but
he
that's a
did.
different. Um, I think that like that's the only thing, and it may be a flaw in the game, but it opens the door for people to go, this person is too incompetent for Alan to have picked them. Like, there's no way Alan would have picked that person.
Hmm.
This person is super strategic and super smart and blah, blah, blah. Alan, that would have been a good choice for Alan to pick them. And it ends up being a distraction, but it opens, because it's not a random selection, it does open the door to that discussion, you know?
That's true. I guess no one's ever been like articulate enough to express that argument for me to like for it actually to be valid. Because it's like
Yeah,
you could be a good choice to be a traitor. It's like that everyone on the show except for like a few people would be a good traitor. That's why you're on the show. Like,
true. And it's really frustrating when that's your only piece of evidence.
yes, yes. If you have other stuff to go on, sure. But if it's you're literally your only argument is like, I don't really like you and you seem like you might be able to lie. It's like, okay, so
Yeah,
they're an actor. They go on
yeah,
TV is your argument? Like you're on a TV show. I don't know.
yeah. It's not a
But
great argument.
it's not but yeah, like always, Michael spends this round table just yelling. Um
Just
ignoring
yelling.
just ignoring that one remark. The whole thing is just him yelling, repeating himself. It's mostly nonsense. He has no facts. He has no feelings. He's just like stating things as if they're true. Like, I'm a hot, faithful, good looking, smart. And it's like, okay, do you want to like tell us anything?
Yeah. He's so vicious too. Like you can see he's pouring all of his like anger, like and just like disgust at the world into his like tirade against Colton, and it just makes him look ridiculous.
It does.
Yeah, and we get the great moment of him. He tries his like little gimmicks to try to be persuasive are just like so incredibly juvenile. It's insane. Like
Yeah.
there was one round table where he was doing like, if you're a traitor and you know it, clap your hands, trying to get people to clap their hands. So
Yeah.
embarrassing.
And
And
he
then
repeated it like 10 times that we saw. Like it's
and he was like taking so much delight and glee in everybody having to listen to him sing the song over and over again and wanting to kill him. You know,
yeah.
uh, that's like
I
awful.
and I don't understand. I feel like maybe they have done it like once, but it's like I don't understand how more people aren't like, Michael, shut up, you're wasting time. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
because
Um,
they have a limited amount of time to do these roundtables, and I think that's what ultimately does him in. Is someone makes that argument like, I don't even care if you're a traitor. You are a terrible faithful. We need you to leave.
I think that's the best thing that has come out of this season is like there's precedent now for upcoming seasons for people to be like, you're acting like Michael. You don't care that you're whether you're a faithful or a traitor. If you're a faithful, you're a bad faithful, and you're wasting our time. We're going to vote you out. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't believe it took 4 seasons for them to like really say that explicitly about people. But like now that it's happened, I'm like, great. Every time that happens again, we need to be like, Michael Rappaport, right here, we have you part 2, and we're getting you out of here if you don't shut up right now, you know?
Yeah, because there is always someone disruptive in every season. That's just how it works whenever you put 20 something famous people in a room. Like there's gonna be chaos and drama and like someone is gonna take over that chaos role. I My only problem with them voting off Michael is that they didn't do it sooner.
Yeah,
Like I don't understand how it took them this many episodes to be like, you are ruining the game.
yeah, um, yeah. It's a bummer. I think really he would have gone home. Uh, excuse me, in episode 4 if it wasn't for Tiffany doing her weird strategy. She like literally like threw herself in front of him. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. She took the bullet for him.
Yeah. I don't think she knew that's what she was doing, but she did. Um, So yeah, good riddance. This is also great. We get the moment where I was talking about like all of his weird gimmicks that he does when he's trying to be persuasive. And in this roundtable, it was calling Colton like what do you say, conniving. He was like using 3 C words for
Yeah.
Colton, and the last one was commiserating. And he just said it over and over and over again until poor Rob was like, "That's not what commiserating means. It means feeling
Yeah.
sorry for someone." Like I could, he was like, "I couldn't stand it anymore." You know, he can't
Yeah.
even get his vocabulary right when he's doing his little gimmick.
Yeah, and it wasn't like an on the spot rant. He literally, I think, admits during this, he's like, I've been seeing this all day. It's like he's he's been saying it the entire day. And yeah, no one has ever told him like with commiseration or something, like it's it's to console someone.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, it's embarrassing. Yeah, so that was a great moment for Rob, in my opinion. Um, yeah, so the other things I have written here, I like actually don't really understand my notes. I said, Ron, familiarity creating bias? Question mark.
that's probably where we were discussing that like Ron didn't really want to talk about like his family or like get
Oh
too
yeah,
close to people. Because there was also during this was the roundtable where I think they had that side argument because, like you said, Ron's been persecuted like every considered, not persecuted. It's a little extreme. He's been considered for being voted off like every week since Portia. Um,
yeah,
and in this one, they brought his name up, but then Michael and Colton were too much chaos for them to not just finally take out Michael. But
yeah,
Ron does make that argument against Dorinda. He's like, I don't want bias. That's why I'm not talking to you about my family. But honestly, like that's a game way of stating it, but like it just seems to me like he didn't get along with some of the people on the show. And it's like you don't have to be friends with those people, and he just wasn't.
yeah, yeah. He seems like a little bit more of like a down to earth type person. And I think that's why he got along with Donna. So yeah, because we know what happens to Ron in episode 6. Um, But yeah, I think the overall it was a productive roundtable to finally get rid of Michael and to set a precedent, hopefully, in future seasons that when someone's being distracting like that, a bad faithful is worse than a traitor sometimes, and you gotta get them out. You know,
Yeah. So I guess what do you have to say to someone?
see,
What do you wish you could say? I mean, I would say to Ron, stay in there as long as you can, but we're an episode ahead, so
Yeah.
R.I.P. my boy. Um, so if I had to pick something else, I would I would just say something to everyone like just stop voting with your feelings so much because they really are. I Everyone on the show is very hung up on their feelings about like their biases, like you said, how they feel about someone, and I guess if you don't have a lot of evidence, like that's all you have to go off of. But it feels very like personal, and it's like people are taking personal grudges from like who called out your name at the effigy or like who
Yeah.
put a coffin in your grave. It feels like people are mad about that, and it's like they need to remember it's a game and they have to pick someone if they want the money.
Right. That's good. I think I would probably pick Eric actually.
Hmm.
And I would say to him, I'm actually really proud of him because he did really screw up with Tiffany, but he did still speak up in the roundtable against Michael very, very eloquently. And kind of like, I think he really went in for the kill on Michael in a way that like turned everybody off of Ron and like made them choose Michael. And I just want to say to him, I'm proud of you that you did that. Everybody makes mistakes, even really embarrassing mistakes, and that doesn't mean that you're never right again.
Aw, that's a sweet one.
That's all I got.
Cool.
Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being my guest, Philip. We are on Instagram at What I Wish I Could Say Pod, and we are on TikTok at The Honest Ape. Cheers.